Okay, where are we and what we doing? Well, as promised, we're going to be going up north. Now, the last time you saw me in my tins that can't be opened type thing, rant, I was told that there's been a change by one of my YouTube commenters that you can now open tins with anything, including the bloody fire axe. So my rant was somewhat silly. What happens is, though, you damage the goods, you lose some of the tin. But as you notice, because we're heading north, I've kitted up a little bit. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 water containers, all full. I have quite a lot of food. I have bandages and a few other bits and bobs. I'm not quite sure why I'm carrying keys. So the premise for today is I am on the east coast, seas over, the ocean's over there, and I'm quite a long way north. I'm north of the industrial in Bergino, north of Bergino, and the train track should have stopped by now. Few people on the server, it's daylight. I can't see my breath, so I'm guessing it's around midday. The sun's reasonably high, the shadows are fairly long. Where's that red over there? Oh well. So pretty much everything further north from where I am now is going to be new. The landscape has been altered. Where the trees are has been altered. Not completely, but to some degree it's been altered. There's a road up here now that wasn't here. This was just a green pasture before. The train track continues. And basically, this is where the changes to the map are going to... Do you know what? If that thing keeps flashing on and off... Sorry, this is I've noticed this before. My bayonet keeps on popping on and off, and to be honest, I don't think it actually does anything. And... why my bayonet? Yay! It's gone! I don't have to deal with the thing flashing on and off. So yes, the changes... So there has already been changes to this portion of the map, and there are going to be more. Finding a map within game is quite tricky, so you might want to Google it, but you'll notice there are now all sorts of roads up north that simply didn't exist before. And one of the most beautiful and finished features of the far north is the shipwreck, which is where we're going to now. But you see, there are roads and there are railway lines, and there's a whole new road network up north, which sort of tells me there's going to be cities and things, because the very far north of the map really was... it was just wilderness. Lots of trees, and very little else. Now, because this development work on the north coast isn't finished yet, it's known that there's no water sources up here. Much further north than the north of the industrial of Bergino, which you can no longer see. No water. This is why I had to make sure I've got lots of fluid on me for this trek to explore the north. I've got food and I've got water. We're going to loot the ship. The ship, last time I was here during alpha or pre-alpha, there was quite a lot of loot here. Not much specialised military, it was more sort of general, you know, hats, boots, the odd tin, the odd melee weapon. Nothing outstanding, you know, it's not like the uber weapons spawn that you might want. So, that's the premise for today's video, is we're going to explore the north. And see what happens. Because, look, roads, road networks. There's going to be a lot up here. There's also a lot of marshy ground. So, little frame rate lags. I love those. Something I have... well, it is alpha, and I am recording with fraps. I love the quality of fraps recordings, but damn, it hogs your system resources, slows the game down, and produces files of the most immense size. Now, can I get across all this lot without splashing my boots and getting wet? As of yet, I'm not sure whether or not there is a mechanic built into the game, but I do know it's coming, that, you know, if you get cold and wet, your health will be affected. So we have this large ship wrecked. God, I'm going to splash it all. Now, here's a little test. In Armour 2, the one thing you'd never want to do is climb on a rock. And you still don't want to climb on rocks. In Armour 3, they sort of fixed it so you could climb on rocks. So we have this beautifully made and crafted 3D model. Now, one of the issues of this thing is it's a bloomin' maze. So, what we have, we'll do the stern first because it's probably more interesting. We have loot. Yeah? It is actually worth coming here. When I was here during the pre-alpha, there was a lot of loot. So let's go first person because stairs is easier. Look, fresh orange. Into hands. Eat. You shall have fresh orange. See? There's a pair of wellies down there and they look to be in nice condition. What are the condition of my boots? Wait. Hiking boots, worn. No, combat boots, worn. They look lovely. They is pristine, I'm having them. And I got wellies on. Flop, 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 flop. I haven't got quite got the sound right of wellies, because wellies sound different than boots. But yeah, there's going to yeah. This is something I wish they're going to sort out. The brightness of the sun. I'm in a building. I'm sure they'll get it sorted. So part of the issue of this place is there's lots of there is quite a lot of kit, but there's a lot of height. You could easily fall to your death. Can you see? Reasonable amounts of kit in here. Right. Ugh. Frame rate lag. See? There'd be loot. Watch the edge. And that's not an openable door. So that's the fore half of the ship over there, and you can't get to it. You have to go down to ground level. Ooh, you can go up there. What's up here? Wait, let me up. Now you can see the industrial and harbour of North Virginia. But look at this. Oh, the beautiful detail on there. I mean, a lot of people wax lyrical about the quality, the quality of Armour's modelers. That does look pretty damn good, considering how old the engine is, or where the engine started, how long ago the engine started. There's no ladder at this end. What they can achieve with this game has always impressed me. Things like that, transition from standing to being on a ladder, yeah, that's a bit squiffy. So let's examine the wheelhouse. Ooh, what are you? Oh, it's the gas stove. I mean, look at the modelling on that. Isn't that good? They always put more detail than any other, or almost any other game that I can think of. So going back to this business of the tin opening things, I know it damages, not damages, you lose some of the contents of your tin that you are opening if you're using anything other than a tin opener or a bayonet. Which sounds reasonable. No, that isn't actually an object, that's just a stud sticking out of the ground. Okay, you can't pick the stud up. So let's continue to do this level. But you can see that this is beautifully done. It's quite charming. It's been modelled... Ooh, there's another. I shall have you. Eat fresh orange. And, oh look, hello. What are the chances of finding ammunition for you? Do I want you? Do I get rid of my Mosin? I can't carry both. Right, let's remember that's here. If I find ammunition, I'll be going over to the M4 because the M4 is a much, much nicer weapon than the Mosin. Rotten fruit. Don't want rotten fruit. Ooh, fresh banana. It's fresh. It's a nice model of a banana, but the way it sits in your hands isn't so great. Let's go onto the deck a little bit, so that's as far forward and back as we do. Ooh, there's a ladder down there. Up there. Another cargo container. Don't know if you'd be able to go down that slope. We're getting a few frame rate issues again. Again, don't forget this game really does need quite a lot of optimization. Check there's no one actually coming. Don't see any players out there. No zombies here. How cool would it be to have zombie crewmen? But then I would imagine that see, you want to fall down that hole. That performance would be tricky. Now, was there a ladder in here? Yes, there is. So it's this floor explored. Look at all these rooms. Some with loot, some without. It's going to take a while to explore this. One thing that is missing, something I've noticed actually with Armour 3 that's missing, is, yeah, you've got all these lovely enterable buildings, but there's no furniture in any of them. So here we have all this, but there's no furniture. And that would be tricky, because you would have to make furniture that was appropriate to a ship. You couldn't just have... you couldn't just have ordinary household furniture in here. So someone would have to make all the models. Now, apparently... Wait. Can I get up there? Oh, let me up. Buggy, you can't get up. Because have I done all of this floor? Yes, I have. So let's go up at this level. So the next enormous pile of rooms. Not all of them have loot, by the look of it. So, you know, it's all the searching for all the stuffs. Always remember when you see windows to look out of them to make sure you're not being sneaked. You know, no one's overwatching or sneaking up on you. And you see, there are items in the boat, in the lifeboat, but I couldn't get up on that ladder. That's a little annoying. So I've done this floor, haven't I? Because I came up that ladder. So let's go up this ladder. And we have the bridge. That's nicely done. Can't quite read it. Yeah. I'm sure if you work in the industry, you will possibly recognise some of these. Are they right? Or is it just... Yeah, that's not quite good enough to be able to read. But, you know, someone spent a lot of time modelling all of this. Gas canister, large one too. Fire extinguisher. So let's go up here to the flying bridge. Let's see. Bits and bobs. Can't get up there. I don't think you can get up there. No, you can't get up there. But there are definitely things in that lifeboat. And there are things in that one, but I couldn't get up the ladder. Noticed yesterday I was up in... where was I? I was up somewhere. I was trying to get onto the roof of one of the flats. I climbed the ladder and then sort of like zipped down it straight away, which was somewhat annoying. So that is the stern, reasonably well explored. Oops. Is there a ladder here? I didn't get the sign for a ladder. Ah. Doesn't want me to go down there. So, is there another way down off this wing, this area? I see. Can I climb this ladder? No, I can't. I'm going to have to go inside to go down one. Ah, down. Let's go down, keep on going down as far as we can. How did I not see this? I thought I... Stuff. Who are you? Wait. Green down jacket. I've not seen that one before. Would it be good if you could layer? If I could, put the green down jacket underneath my waterproof coat. Did I not search? No, I didn't search this area. Good grief, there's a whole area I didn't search. Hello. Here's the thing. On board ship, would they be made of porcelain? You know, a ship like this. You see that interior is nicely done. It's nicely realised. See, things up on top of things. Is that the press one? Oh, anti-stab vest. It doesn't have... Now I've seen somewhere, someone's found one of these and it says press across the front. So I'm guessing this replaces your jacket, but you lose the pockets, but you gain protection. I can imagine something like that becoming very important to somebody who wants to... Does that say police? It says something in Russian. I can imagine that could become very important to a PvPer. You know, basically a form of body armour. Didn't realise that was in the game yet. Which is pretty cool. I mean, waxing lyrical about the detail. Look at all that. They've actually got the hangers and things for the pipework. So that's this... Ah, that... Oof, grief, blinded. So that area done. Let's work back this way. And again, blinded. Yes, I like the idea of the stab-proof vest, and this is where we came in. So now we go back into the hold area. Actually, no, this should be forward, shouldn't it? Yeah. No, it is back. Because there was that thing. Now, I don't know if you can climb up it. I'll have a go. Stripy shirt? Orange and white stripes. There you go. So this is one of the bulk holds. Again, there are items here. Now, can you go up? Strangely, in Armour 2, yes, you can go up it. There are some very strange and steep things that you can climb up and down. They put planks in inside buildings in Armour 3. No, in Armour 2, thinking about it, for climbing onto roofs and things. Be so careful around heights. You do not want to break a leg by falling. So we want to find our way down again. Right, here we are. So there's no real way... Oh! So, yeah, this is as low as I can go in this... Oh, I told you it was like a bloody maze. Did I look through here? I'm starting to get nuts now. I'm definitely getting confused about where I can... No, I've been through here. Wait! Let's There's no point going down there. I need to break out this way. This might be one of those situations where you've got to go... Not just here. I think I've got to go up before I can go down. See? It's a bloomin' maze. Quick check about. I don't see people. It's all about situational awareness, I guess. So, how did I get... I was further forward, wasn't I, when I was going up and down? So if I go further forward and then attempt to go down... That far forward? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yes, this is how I did it. Because I've got to get back down to ground level, down to the bottom of the hull, before I can make the transition to the forward half of the ship. So, now we're down to the keel. Was that a fresh apple? Hello, fresh apple. Eat fresh apple. But isn't that... I don't know, the model makers have done a really lovely job with this ship. And of course, I suppose 95% of the work has been done to be able to have this ship not in a wrecked form somewhere else. So now they've got the model. They look pristine to me. Oh, they're worn. Good condition. Yeah, but now we've got the model for the ship. Don't know about how the model maker decided to sat down and do it, but I would guess that he built a ship complete and then broke it in half. So, if he finished off the complete ship, we could have one of these cargo ships, say, at Electro Docks. That could be fun. See, this is huge. You've got another area to go down to with more loot. It tends to be a lot of it's clothing. Another area. Look. More loot. Up onto deck. Let's go up to the bow. These winches are beautifully made, aren't they? Ooh. Hang on, back a little, back a little. You has value. What are you? Charcoal tabs. Unfortunately, you can't put... Oh, it swapped it. That's not what I had in mind. No, it's only letting me swap rather than... Let's get some space. Let's put it in my inventory. And then let's... No, it just swaps. Isn't that odd? I'm sure with... Oh no, I'm getting confused with... These aren't water purification tablets. By the way, where the bloody hell did my medical bat... Oh, I've been armoured. I bet you it fell through the floor. We have got to... No, it just reappeared. Sometimes, when you drop something, it'll just fall through the floor. That's why very often you don't do anything specialised in a building. You make sure you're outside. Other times, it just disappears. It happened to me yesterday, and was it yesterday or the day before? I was so angry. Do I want to run through every single blooming thing I could do? But Do you not want to run off there? You would be messed up in a... yeah. If you survived, it would be quite surprising. Ah, see? How are you going to get down there? Oh, you... yeah, okay. Oop. Get my big fat butt through that gap. Go on, let me climb. Thank you. More of these glorious winches, which are properly things. You know, their cables are all attached to something, and other cables just like hanging loose. This looks like a labour of love. This looks like someone sat down and thought, ah, bloody hell, really just wanted to make this. I don't know how many hours they spent making this, but they worked bloody hard. Now, how did I get up here? Oh yes, it was this way, wasn't it? Or was it? God. Do I need to go back one before I go down? I think I do. Yes. Here we go. And we're back at ground level. Well, let's head north. Now, can I go? No, let's not go around the coast. Let's go inland just a little bit. I've turned the sound down a little bit so that you guys don't get deafened by the ocean sounds. The downside of that is I'll not get the feedback in game of sound. But I think that is beautifully done. You know. It's worth a visit because there is a bit of kit here. I mean, I did see that at M4. Although I didn't find any ammunition for it. I'm pretty well kitted with the Mosin. And as you guys know, I'm not a player killer, so do I really need an M4? It's just nice to have something that carries that many bullets for shooting zombies. But I think the Mosin will do for now, at least. I've got my fire axe. And yeah, I mean, God, if you're a bandit, sat up here with a sniper rifle. The only thing is, you sort of want the target that you're going to be overwatching to be more loot heavy, so people really want to come up here. But given that there's going to be... I was wondering what the heck that was then, it's a shadow. Given how much there is going to be in the north eventually, this is going to be a natural stop-off point for people coming north to come in here and re-equip. So, yeah, you can have a lot of fun up here as a sniper. Yes, I was really curious of what that was, and it's just the play of shadow movement, I think, or the shallowness. Yeah, I think we had ocean creatures. Of course, we have fish in Armour 3, so... and there's a lot of talk on buzz around Battlefield 4 at the moment, because people are trying to find megalodons and dinosaur noises and stuff. Don't think I'm going to find any loot up here. So I'm coming up the coastline. There is a large harbour, natural harbour, or inlet up here, used a fair bit by the guys who make missions for armour, because you would come in with ribs on into the inlet. But I understand that some work's been done up here, and there's a harbour or something. So this is what we're going to go. It just me, are those pine trees yellow? Why would pine trees be yellow? These do right. Golden coloured pine trees. Someone's a little confused about nature. I've never seen that before. I don't know, there might be a part of the world where pine trees are naturally orange, but a little disconcerted with orange pine trees. They are also moving too much. The one thing you notice about, it's true with this game, with nearly every other game, they want to add some movement into the trees to be responding to wind, but they pivot from their base, and that's not how trees move. Even in the strongest wind, this base portion would be barely moving, but here it is, it's swaying around like a drunk man. Oh well, can't have everything. I'm seriously concerned about why they're orange. Are they all dying? It's not like pine trees are deciduous. Unless this is some kind of freaky deciduous tree that I'm unaware of and it isn't actually a pine tree at all. And then of course if it is, it has every right to be orange. Look like pine trees to me. Anyway. This, by the way, is not the bay I was discussing. Just look like the railway line comes up this far. Someone modded trains into armour at one point, and a great concept, but they sort of, each one was a carriage in of itself. There. And each carriage was like an individual vehicle attempting to travel very close to each other, and they just jigged and bounced about, knocking against each other, and it was a lovely idea to have running trains in armour, but the engine doesn't like that type of thing, so yeah, it didn't work. That's pretty. Oops, almost went through a bush. So, while I trot forward, I shall bear you me just rambling too much, looking at my girl's butt, and I'll catch up with you gentlemen in a minute. So here we are, travelled about 10-15 minutes north of, about 15-20 minutes actually, north of the shipwreck, and look, got a little harbour. Now, what I'm not sure about is, is this entire inlet new? Because I think it is. I mean, look at that. I've never seen that. That rock formation. I think this whole area is new. I'm sort of not expecting loot up here, but there is an inlet, like an estuary, which is much wider than this. As I was approaching this, this is what I thought I was, but those rocks don't look right. And that rocky gorge definitely doesn't look right. That's definitely new. So the railway line and the road come up to this point. I don't know if it has a name or not. I haven't managed to find a map today, or in this incarnation since the last one. And look over there. That hill with a transmitter on top. So roads, railway line, buildings, and a dockyard. None of this was here before. This is all new. So, although technically the map isn't any bigger than it used to be, there was never any reason for a regular player of Dayz to want to come this far north. Now there is. As I say, at the moment I'm not sure whether or not loot spawns up here, but I'm going to go have a look at the very least, because this is look at those rock formations and everything. I think this has just been carved out of the coast. And I used to play up in these backwoods areas, mainly because I was trying to avoid other players. But it's not going to be easy to avoid other players when there's something this nice to come and have a look at. Where are these buildings? It's a whole little town. It's incomplete, it's unfinished. But, wow. So we'll go and have a look inside some of these buildings. As I say, I'm not anticipating loot to spawn in. I may be wrong. Hey, I've been wrong in the past. I'm sure I'll be wrong. No, and there is loot spawning. Granted, it's not very nice loot, but it is loot. So, maybe you can come up here and find and have an expectation to find things. Look at this. Garages, I'm having a look at those. Garages are normally a pretty hefty loot spawn area. One of the most interesting things down in the south, amongst all of those blocks of flats, are the garages. The garages are more interesting than the flats. I mean, the flats have been beautifully done, but hey, look at that pipe. How clever's that? You expect a certain amount of cookie cutter replication in any game, because making assets in a game is it's labor intensive to make them, and of course, so it's so much easier to make one of those and then just repeat it, because when there is a call for that and that and that, you know, it's quite easy to do. But the thing, why do that? Why put a pipe between two buildings in that shape? This game is not made to the normal rules of game making. Bohemia Interactive just have some very odd people working for them. Who I'm sure just make things in 3D model making because they enjoy making things in 3D model making. And they're allowed to get on with it. Ooh, another compass. I can't stop myself from looting. It's just like built into my nature now. I just loot for the sake of looting. It's not like I need anything. Does that normally have that on the side? Don't know. But yes, I'm sure the guys in Bohemia Interactive, the 3D model makers, are like, you know, we need a pub, make a pub, and they make a pub, and it's gorgeous. You see, you can tell it's not finished. Look at the way the angle of this road, and that. Yeah? So you come up to the north to look at all the amazing things, but don't expect it to be perfect. To the point where it's almost surprising that they put it in this level of the build. So yeah, it ain't perfect. It's not finished. But look at this, isn't it gorgeous? Actually, I haven't had anything to eat. I mean, look at this. You've got an entrance into the pub, and it's far too high. Don't know how you actually made that step. Basically, either they need to put some steps on that, or they just need to lower the whole model a little deeper into the terrain, or have the terrain come up to meet it. So, yeah, it's not finished. There are some people who do seem to like the idea of just dissing the game because it's broken, it's not doing this, it's not doing that. And they have absolutely no concept that this really is. This represents an awful lot of work from an awful lot of people. And although up here you can clearly see it's not finished. But there's one of our trains, or trains for the train track. So we could have these at any point of the marshalling yards inside along the south coast. Can I get in? Yes, I can. I seem to be getting a lot of people adding me on Steam of late. A couple of things. One, I did a review for Dayz, which seems to be getting a lot of attention. It was only like a 4-line review. And the other is I've started adding, right at the tail end of my videos, I've started adding my Steam ID. My Steam friend list is going to be huge. Maybe I can collect them the way I collect games. Now these buildings, you come across these little sort of shack shops. I don't know quite what to call them. A couple of interesting things about them. They're dotted, you get them in, oh, where are they? Well, I saw these in Zelenogorsk. You normally can get on the roof, although this one doesn't appear to have a ladder. But they're normally really... Ah, this is the bookshop. They normally have quite a bit of loot in them. Something you don't see in the UK, but I have seen in, you know, in continental Europe, those billboards, circular billboards around things. So, I'm going to go back on my little trip along the coast. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this big backpack is you can't see over your shoulders. Admire the beautiful rocks, run into the sun, and carry on running up the coast, see what else I can see up on this eastern coast, then strike inland. I suppose I could strike inland at this point, but yeah. It's worth coming up here just to have a look, because at some point in the game, once this northern area, northern territory shall we call it, is finished, it's going to increase the effective gameplay area by another 20% or so, I suppose. Because although you could have always in the past have visited this portion of the map, there was no cause to. And now there will be cause to come up here, because there is stuff. I'm not saying about that ship. You know, if they rebuilt it complete and docked it in the harbour, another reason to come up here, you know. Each one of the harbours could have a large cargo ship, or maybe there could be cargo ships moored out. There's a thought, just thought of that. Once the game's more complete and we have boats, for instance, could you imagine having a couple of those large cargo ships moored out to sea? That could be fun. Because, I don't know, I know around the UK coast there are places, I live in Portsmouth on the south coast, and you look out to sea and there are ships moored. They're basically, I mean, in Portsmouth they're waiting for their scheduled slots in the container harbours in the UK, and of course further around the coast at in Holland and Rotterdam and places like that. So there's like a car park for ships, but they are about 5-6 miles out to sea, all moored up at Spithead. Well, we could have something like this. You could, you know, come up to the top of this hill and look out there and see a couple of ships moored. Get yourself a boat, get yourself out there. Could be a great place for a camp, could be a great place to loot stuff. That could be cool. Just a suggestion. I like that suggestion, though. Now, do I want to go to the wet side or dry side of these rocks? I'm going to go dry side. Get away from the ocean. As you've noticed, we've not seen any zombies. That's no great surprise, because I don't believe the zombies are spawning in this far north. Rock has been very good about telling us about things. You know, their communication has always been good. Recent announcements talking about wanting to add more zombies and more loot, and the possibility of respawning zombies and respawning loot, so that, you know, it's on the agenda. They will be doing it at some point. Great place for a camp up here, isn't it? Am I going to be encircled by rocks? I think I'm going to be encircled by rocks. So yes, there's talk of improvements to server performance. Also the talk of locked servers. So you could rent a server that was locked, that would have its own hive. So if you wanted to change gameplay and to make it more of a PvP type gameplay, you could. Sounds good. You know, for a hero survivor like myself, if the PvPers can go play with each other rather than picking on people like me, that would be great. And also us survivors could have a survivor server where PvPing was discouraged. Ooh. Not sure about that rock formation. I shall now christen thee the Keyhole Rock. performance glitches. Look at that. Ah, answering my question from earlier, yes, you can run on rocks. Ye shall now be known as the Keyhole, because I has named ye. Oh. Is that another one? Oh, there's another one. Maybe big keyhole? Little keyhole. I'm not quite sure how natural this type of rock formation is, but there you go. Looks a little unstable, looks like it's about to fall down. Odd. Someone was having fun, weren't they? There's a lot to explore. Yeah, you could easily put your little camp up here. Couldn't you just? You could have a nice little base camp up here in the north on the coast. Oh well, catch up with you later when I see something else of interest. Okay, we're back. We're in the far north. And we found the edge of the map. This has always been the case up here, that this portion of the map has always been a little funky. That there's a part of the landmass that extends further right than the map will allow. And here we are really finding some unusual things. This boundary is normal. What would normally happen in this portion of the map is there wouldn't be trees. You would see this undergrowth, and then it would go to this, which is the plain texture. All of a sudden, we feel like we're in Armour 1. But look at that. The ocean is not there. There's a bit of bay, but no. Yeah. So it was my intention to find the top corner of the map. I mean, things like this are beautifully done. Things like that possibly need a little bit of work. Didn't really matter before, because there was never any reason to come up here. Even if you were playing Armour 2, there was never much reason to come all the way up here. You know, the edge of the map within Armour games has always been this way, that there's oddities at the edge of the map. And the map continues on forever, as in the terrain and this painted grass. You know, just like the ocean continues forever. It's just rather a stark reminder of you're at the edge of the world, beyond there be dragons. And yeah, had to swap servers. Which is a little annoying. It got that bug where you can hear people talking. I've heard some very strange conversations when that bug's occurred. Last night it happened. And I'm not entirely sure the language I was listening to, but it was like German or Scandinavian, one of the European languages. And you could hear this guy talking to his wife. I mean, she was obviously going to bed or something, because it was quite late at night. And they're talking in hushed tones. And then we discover that the bloke's got a blooming mechanical keyboard. And yeah, he starts tapping away on this keyboard. God, his missus must hate that. It's the reason. You know, I'd quite like a mechanical keyboard, but damn, my wife would learn to hate it, because me staying up late at night, typing away, and it's clack, 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 clack. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny, I must admit, you know. So, good night, love. Yeah, go to bed now. Can you keep the noise down? Tackety, 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 tackety. So, playing on the 775 server right now, because the other server looked interesting, because it was a EU server, my ping would have been nice and low. This is the 775 P. Keep forgetting the new numbers. And it's in the States, so that's not bad. Pinging 90 to the United States, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good server, the 775 one. Obviously it's pretty vanilla, like everybody's is vanilla at the moment. or at least should be vanilla. But this is where you'll find some of the pre-alpha testers hanging out, and also people like Hicks and the like. But anyway, let's see if, just run to the top of this hill, see if the top corner of the map is also visible at this point. It's just weird. Armour 1, Armour 2, Armour 1, Armour 2. I'm not expecting to find much up here, I just wanted to come up and have a look. Can't say you've been there. Till you've looked. Talk to you in a second when I find the corner. So here we go, the top right hand corner of the map. You can carry on running if you wish. But out there be dragons. The terrain goes on pretty much infinitely. I don't think it does actually have an outer edge. I don't know how it's made. But the relief map is way, way larger than the playable area. You know, you could run out there and get lost very, very quickly. If you want to know how, you know, that you can go anywhere on the map, get into a plane. I remember getting into a plane and flying it till it ran out of fuel in Armour 2, just to see how far I could go. And damn, I was a long way away from the original base. You can do it. You can do it with all of the armor games that aren't. Well, if it's an island, obviously you need to do it in a plane or a boat. Or possibly you could swim, but it might take a while. Is this area any use to a player? Well, there were servers that I played on where the bandit camps used to be out in the desolate areas. If you're playing Dayz, they would have their bandit camps outside of the map. Other servers I played on where the admins would automatically delete anything they found outside of the player area. That used to be a warning used to come up on the screen. Would be every so often would be a server message saying we will delete any content found outside of the player area. But yeah, if you hadn't seen what the edge of the map looks like, this is it. Basically the terrain continues forever. Outside the map, inside the map, outside, inside. Actually made a slight mistake when I said when I went like Armour 1, Armour 2. It's actually more like Operation Flashpoint Armour 2. Because Armour 1 did actually have some vegetation, just not as much as this. And the models weren't so nice. Now, do I just carry on running west along this coast, along this edge? Or should I run inland? If I... Actually, thinking about it, from that corner I should really have decided to run diagonally southwest. So it's number 4. Out with the compass, up with the compass. There. Let's run diagonally and see what we see. Talk to you in a bit. See, it's not all just rocks and trees up here, although there's an awful lot of rocks. Some open areas too. There was Rocket's Post also mentioned animals. The more they add, though, it seems that the more it hits the servers. So they said they can put lots of, if they don't put any loot in, they can put lots of zombies. If they put lots of loot in, sorry, if they get rid of the loot, they can put in a lot of zombies. If they get rid of the zombies, they can put in a lot more loot. Oh, it's a road. Hello, road. And it's going to be the other thing as well with the animals. The animals apparently using the server script, the script for. There's a road that goes off in that direction. Yeah, the animals use the same AI as the zombies, so maybe we're going to see aggressive animals, which actually would be sensible. You know, a wild boar is not something you would approach in the wild without some careful forethought. So once they get the server performance and the hive and everything sorted, then yes, we're going to see more items, because there is a, for every item you add, there is a knock-on implication for the performance of the server. There was talk about, you know, getting the server to be properly multi-threaded so it can make use of more cores. But that being the case, it's going to be a more and more demanding game for game service providers to host. And it was the case with Arma, but before DayZ came along and made Arma, gave Arma its mass popularity, Arma always was a somewhat limited appeal sim game with certain requirements, you know, performance requirements on people's computers, but also a hefty server requirement. You know, the really big Arma clans or Arma communities, like for instance Shack Tactical, they will routinely play with 70 to 100 players on their server. I think there's even 150 players, and they do these mass battles with tanks and planes and stuff. I think I'll go this side of these rocks, and against AI, and there will be hundreds of you know, over 100 players and well over 100 AI. And the way they get around it is by having two servers, one that does that actually hosts the game, and the other that just is what they call the headless client, that just runs the AI. Some of those videos are actually quite entertaining, with the guys reacting to the increased AI performance when the load is taken away from the actual server that's hosting the game. But yes, going back to my point I was attempting to make, was Arma always has required a very beefy server to run. So normal game service providers, the companies you buy and rent your service from, wouldn't ordinarily, you know, the people you buy and rent a, I don't know, a Counter-Strike server from, or a Battlefield or any other game server from, wouldn't necessarily be able to rent you out an Arma server, because the system requirements on the server are much, much, much higher, to the point where most communities who play Arma games have dedicated boxes in racks. They pay for the, they own the box, and they rent rack space and its communication from the company, so they have it hosted in a server farm somewhere. So as now DayZ changed all of that, because DayZ turned an Arma-based game into a massively popular game, so people wanted to rent servers. So the GSPs jumped on and said, oh yeah, well we'll throw up half a dozen virtual servers. Each one can run a DayZ server, or an Arma 3 server, or something like that. And this is why you get, particularly affecting Arma 3 at the moment, with some of the game modes like Wasteland, persistent games like Wasteland, where you get terrible server performance. And it's because it's being hosted on a box that isn't powerful enough. My trek in a particular direction isn't going to go well if I can't... Yeah, we're not going down a bloody cliff. So, yeah, there's a possibility, as they add more and more features to DayZ, they're going to be asking more and more of the game service providers, and basically DayZ servers could end up becoming quite expensive. Because the way it runs at the moment, if you rent, I don't know, a Counter-Strike server, you are running a virtualized server that might be being hosted, where the physical server might be hosting half a dozen game servers. Where with DayZ you may find yourself having to rent a server and having, because of the server load, expecting the server to, well, be more powerful, I suppose. I'm still facing the right way. Good grief. Do you know, in the real world, I'm not actually this good at navigation. Don't know what it is about this. Can I get up that way? Is there a gap in that rock? Or do I have to go all the way over there to go over? Or do I go all the way? Let's go all the way over here and over. So yes, there could come a point where Dayz servers could become quite expensive. And that could be the case because they are, you know, if the servers to perform well is expecting to have access to 4 physical cores, that's not the way GSPs or game service providers operate. Just a thought. Dayz servers could become quite expensive, and that of course will have a knock-on effect of the game. Oh well, talk to you in a bit. Now here's a thing. Complicated road network. Square patches on the ground. Do you think this is going to be a town or a village? I think we found ourselves a village, boys. You can see where the buildings are going to be. See over there, a little square. It's definitely a square there. Definitely a complex road structure for being out in the middle of nowhere. I think this is going to be a little town. Has all the hallmarks. Well, at least a village. Dirt tracks. Roads. Strange markings in the ground. I'm travelling west at the moment. My southwesterly progress is being impeded by these large rocks. Now, is that south? Guesstimate that is about southwest. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that's southwest. Gonna have another drink. Slowly getting through my water and food. You know, eating and drinking regularly. Oop, there's nothing left in that one, you see. Now, I've got through 2 bottles of water, or a canteen and a bottle, and a couple of tins of food. I have got to be mindful that I want to get back to civilization before I run out of resources. You know, I wanted to come up here and have a look at what was around, and I wanted to make a video for you guys to show what is making around, but I don't want to die in the process. You know, I'm in this game for the long survival, not the combat. So yeah, I don't want to be returning back to civilization from the far north in a poor state of health. Now, there's been some discussion on one of the websites that I help out on is called FPS Admin, and this seriously is not their type of game. This is possibly why I know a little more about servers and such like. Apart from the fact I've, you know, a clan server admin. The FPS Admin site is a gaming site, but it's not a general gaming site. It's was originally created to help server admins run their server. Get some wicked lag spikes. So there's a whole bunch of guys there who know all about games and game servers, but don't necessarily know much about Dayz. This is not their normal type of game. It was originally designed for I think Medal of Honor, you know, about 10-15 years ago. There are also on the site we get a lot of the GSPs, which is the game service providers. talking either to each other or helping each other out. And you know, we've got a section there from Dayz has a section for people who make the server tools. You know, so if you're a server admin for your clan, and the server tools that you would use to control your server, well, the guys who make those will use our forum on FPS admin to communicate with God, more rocks. Communicate with the game makers. So there's a fair bit of that going on. So we've been talking along the server, you know, about my interest in this game, which is, as I say, very different from the type of games they would normally play and run on their servers. Let's see if I can get down here. About how you would introduce a new player to Dayz, because you can't exactly spawn next to them. You will have to. This is looking a bit steep. You would have to be able to support a new player who's never played before. It looks like we're coming up against another city, doesn't it? Look at that road layout. Incomplete, of course, but... So, yeah, how would you best introduce someone who's never played Dayz to the game? Because they spawn in, they won't even know where the chuffing heck they are. I mean, how do they tell you? It's not even like the mod which would tell you Chernogorsk or Electro or the Klemenka briefly at the site. You can say, right, it's going to... Oh, session lost. Bugger. I'm definitely going to lose my train of thought at this rate. Catch up with you in a minute. Actually, no, you might as well stay with me for this bit. Where did you go? Yeah, it looks like the server restarted, but it didn't do it as one would expect. Servers, by the way, come back incredibly quickly after a restart. I mean, seriously quickly. That Zombie World EU is the one I started on. It says hardcore, but I haven't actually noticed any difference because you can still go third person. And this is a 775 server that is run by the group that were doing a lot of the pre-alpha testing. So I was saying, yes, ooh, and I've teleported back. Yeah, how would you introduce a new player? Because they wouldn't know where they are. You wouldn't be able to say, well, you know, you'll spawn next to me, we'll go off and have an adventure together. So I think the best way would be to talk them through it. To be on the same TeamSpeak channel or whatever you're using. God knows why you would be wanting to use Skype, but, you know, TeamSpeak or Mumble or whatever. Veltro. People are still running Veltro servers. And be there to answer their questions. How do I do this? Where do I go? And you say, watch out for the zombies. Run, sprint, double tap W, head for the woods, you know, whatever. You know, it says, my head pounds. What does that mean? It says, it means you're thirsty. You need to find water. You know, find a valley. There may be a pond. By the way, there are no bloody ponds up here. This is why you had to bring your own water with you. So... yeah, I think that's probably the best way to support, and then you get them to describe their location and hope you can figure out roughly where they are, so you can then come and meet up with them, and by then they've probably been playing for an hour or so, because you know how long it's going to take to find someone. And that probably is the best way to introduce someone to Dayz, is to talk them through, because the learning experience or the learning curve in Dayz at the beginning is very, very steep. Aha! We found train tracks. Okay. So yes, how to introduce someone new to Dayz, I think, would be a case of being online at the same time and being able to talk them through. Now, of course, if you're watching this and you're interested in Dayz because you've been watching my videos, hopefully I'm giving you enough information to sort of get you part of the way, if you like. there is no better way to learn about DayZ than to actually play it, but having someone who has knowledge of the game telling you things is going to be it's going to be invaluable. It's going to be very helpful to a new player. Telling people, "Ooh, water!" Now, we can't be that far north. If there's water, we can't be that far north. And I can drink. So, this is what I do when I come to a pond, whatever my health state. Don't know if you heard that, but I just spammed the F button by about half a dozen times. Don't want to drink too much because you'll throw up. Also, I'll take the option to... Oh, hang on. Yeah, that's it. Fill bottle. Drop that one. Wait, it said drop it. Sometimes you would... Yeah, that's it. Bring that one in. Fill bottle. I think we're sort of getting close to regular player area now. Yeah, I mean, if you were a new player, would you know that you can drink from ponds? Would you know that you want to drink about half a dozen times, but you don't want to drink much more than that, otherwise your belly will be too full and you'll throw up? Granted, you know, first time that happens, you learn pretty quickly. I do wonder where I am completely, because there are still new features here, like rock outcrops that aren't on the original map. But let's clean that. This annoys me. Clean that up. But you wouldn't know that. I mean, that's what I just did then, clearing up your taskbar, your quick bar. How the quick bar works. Yeah, there's the roads up here that wouldn't ordinarily be here. And again, we're far enough away for it not to be rendering grass. That again looks like there's going to be buildings there, possibly. Anyway, we're heading for that little gap in the rocks where the road is. Are we still heading in the right direction? Bloody hell, we are, aren't we? No one's more surprised than me that my internal navigation is working well enough to be able to be able to move around like this. I will talk to you in a bit. Ooh, look what I've found. Little military base. God knows if I'll ever be able to find it ever again. And I don't think there's anything lootable here, because that's a non-enterable building. Isn't this going to be fun? You know the base they've got, the southwestern sort of cornerish of the map near the coast, kilometre or so inland. I wonder if they could cookie cutter that and drop it anywhere. Okay, it's non-enterable, and someone's going to do a bit of work on not blocking roads with walls, but is anything up there as well? Or is that's just the road, isn't it? How strange. Little military base. Well, the beginnings of a military base, Put a couple of barracks in here, clear up that wall, and you've got yourself a little military base out in the backwoods. Cool. Cool beans. Amazing what you discover when you go for a walk, hiking. Catch up with you in a sec. Okay, I think we're pretty close to being out of the northern, I don't know, fifth of the map. The unfinished portion. Because that is the castle near is it Dragon Castle? The one I visited a few days ago, anyway. So we're getting closer to wanting to wrap the video up. There is obviously no way that I have explored the whole of that Northern Territory, because simply you can't, not easily. You know, it would take you many hours to look at every hilltop, at every valley. I mean, that military base we just stumbled across. That's, yeah, odd. Don't expect to see that. We're now getting into the portion of the map which is, within DayZ terms, more traditionally a playable area. We're still a long way north. We're still you know, there's an awful lot of DayZers that never got off the bloomin' south coast. They just thought that Electro and Cherno, and maybe as far north as Starry, as far as they ever went. I'm sure there are a great many DayZers who never went further north than the northwest airfield. Possibly the northeast airfield, if they actually went that far north. But that, I mean, as a DayZ player, that's about as far north as I ever went. Unless I was, yes, that's Cameravo over there, or Camera something, I read. No, it's not Cameravo, I can't remember the bloody name of it. But there is a large town just over that valley, because I know, because I used to attack it in Arma 2, and that house is where I used to park the ATC. But yeah, how far north would players go? As I say, there's an awful lot of DayZers, either of the standalone or the original game, that never really played anywhere other than the south coast. Some people would go up to the northwest airfield. Not many would go to the northeast airfield, because although it was an airfield, it wasn't actually that rich, and it was an awful long way away from anywhere. But we are now back in civilization. There's a castle up there. We just passed a house, and although that village has changed a little bit, it hasn't changed a great deal, and it does have a supermarket or a store. But on that note, yeah, pile of grass in my face. We'll wrap the video up. My exploration of the northeastern corner of the map, still way more to see, lots of new things. We started north of Bergino, went up and had a look at the ship. We found the new docks in the little town there, don't know what it's called, I'm sure it's got a name. Then took you right up into the top right hand corner of the map, where the terrain continues but grass and features don't, and then walked diagonally back south or southwest, and we are still really in the northeastern corner of the map. In fact, I did a video of this whole area and I called it Northeast. We're still a very, very long way from places like Novi Sobor and Stary Sobor. We are miles from the south coast. A good, well, 10-12 kilometers from somewhere like Electro. If we walked straight south from here, we would probably come into Electro, and you'd be looking at probably well, I don't know how long it would take. Jogging, it would probably take at least an hour to get down there. So we are quite a long way, still a long way north, but up in that direction there's going to be a lot more to the game, and there's going to be the play area, the useful play area of the game, I reckon is going to increase by around 20%, because I reckon it's about a fifth of the map right across the top of the map, which is going to be, it's always been playable, but there's never been much reason to go there. We're going to have towns, we're going to have cities, there's docks, there's going to be little military camps, there's going to be lots of reasons to go up there. So, on that note, we shall end the video. Thank you very much for watching. Got any questions, put them in the comments. I try to answer any direct question. And I will talk to you lovely ladies and gentlemen later. Have fun, and thank you for watching.